Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 11th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see some old tropical moisture from that tropical system K down here that impacted California, moving up across the region. Not a lot of precipitation, mainly just sprinkles so far today, but we could get a stray thunderstorm tomorrow and on in through Tuesday from this system. You can see the deep low over the Bering Sea over here near Alaska. And eventually some energy is going to move out towards the Gulf of Alaska and potentially drop down in towards Pacific Northwest next week. And we're going to check out the extended forecast on that and try to pin down some timing of when that could occur. Confidence is still low at this point. Checking out the visible satellite imagery, you can see all the smoke trapped, mainly Seattle north, some really unhealthy air out there. Of course, that Bolt fire, if you had not heard of it, really raged yesterday, kicked out a whole bunch of smoke and really brought it all the way towards Vancouver Island and did mix down towards Seattle a bit as we have some pretty poor air quality out there right now. Good news is we should get some relief as we go through tonight and on into tomorrow morning. You can see eastern Washington, Oregon basking in the smoke as well as we get this high level moisture moving across the area. Now looking at Spokane, Washington, kind of highlighting that risk for Monday and Tuesday, showers and thunderstorms possible. Confidence is low though, but these lightning strikes could produce some new fire starts, so hopefully that is not the case. But good graphic there from the National Weather Service Spokane. You can see the air quality alerts. Those exist all the way down into eastern Washington as well. And if we click over here into Seattle, you can see they exist for the Puget Sound. Click down towards Willamette Valley. You can see it down for much of the region for Eugene, Cottage Grove, Florence. And you could probably still extend that across some areas of Portland and Southwest Washington as well, as most of the areas are still pretty smoky right now. Looking at SeaTac yesterday, 92 degrees, 18 degrees above average, new all-time daily record high set yesterday. Very warm day. We're kind of trapped between the plumes of smoke a bit, enough to allow some of that sunshine warming to get in here during the afternoon. I can feel it, and I was wondering if we would eventually get that record because the smoke did not chop the temperatures down much for SeaTac, as you can see. Looking around the region here, you can see the Bolt fire really bringing that unhealthy air for Seattle northward. You can see the mixed bag of moderate and unhealthy air for eastern Washington, Oregon. The Cascades of Oregon got hit hard as well. Fires burning down there. Oregon dealing with their own pretty nasty air quality as well. Looks like some improvement occurring along the coastline, immediate coastline as of now. And we'll check out where the smoke is supposed to go here in a moment. This is my house. This is Friday's bump here in that smoke. And then you can see yesterday we really went downhill as we went into the later afternoon and evening hours. Still dealing with some pretty nasty air out there as we speak. But it's kind of an interesting graph showing the relaxation a bit Saturday morning before the bounce back with the smoke coming into the region. But you can see where we normally hang out here is that we have a pretty good air quality usually around the Pacific Northwest, at least west of the Cascades. Now taking a look here, this is 8 meters above the ground, the HRRR, the 12Z, 3 kilometer resolution here. You can see during the afternoon, early afternoon, we really start to move some of that smoke out of the area up towards Bellingham, Vancouver, Everett, North Vancouver Island, start to get a break here. As you can see, this surface smoke starts to relax as we go through the overnight hours tonight into Monday morning here. And then by Monday morning, we shouldn't have much surface smoke around the region. There's probably going to still be smoke aloft. But for the most part, the surface smoke will be done for western Washington and Oregon. You can see that's not going to be the case for eastern Oregon, Washington. Check out the Cascades, still producing copious amounts of smoke with these fires as we go on in through very early Tuesday morning shown here. But we're going to get some onshore flow and really start to clear out the areas west of the Cascades, but not so fast for portions east. Now checking out the NAM 3KM, this is hot off the presses 12Z run. You can see as we go through the day today, see this southerly winds here. And as we go through a little bit further into the evening hours, you'll see some westerly winds coming down the strait here, but still some southerly flow. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow transition to kick all this surface smoke out of here. And you kind of see these squirrely winds around the West Cascades, even some easterly flow still going on embedded if you look closely in there Monday morning. But for the most part, by the time we get towards later Monday morning into Monday afternoon, everything is westerly, if you'll notice, or southerly through western Washington and Oregon here. You can see the winds coming through, these westerlies coming through the coastal range into Oregon should be cleaning out the area west of the Cascades. But again, the fires going along the Cascades are going to be producing plenty of smoke for everybody else to the east of the Cascades coming up here. Now taking a look here, this is the upper level low off the system here. You can kind of see it pretty well here, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. And this moving over the area Monday and Tuesday could spawn some thunderstorms, mainly across the higher terrain. Cascades East is what I'm thinking at this point right now. It could be a couple new fire starts. Not a lot of precipitation associated with this. In fact, I believe the SPC had a bit of an isolated thunderstorm, isolated dry thunderstorm potential for portions of eastern Oregon coming up here. Now looking at the lightning flash density here on the European, did better than the HRRR. The HRRR was showing some kind of lightning activity across the Olympics in southwest BC yesterday. Did not materialize this morning. As we go through into Monday afternoon, you can see some of this for the Cascades, mainly north up into British Columbia here. And as we go into Tuesday afternoon, kind of a little bit of a repeat there across the east slopes of the Cascades up through British Columbia, maybe eastern Oregon, the higher terrain also through Tuesday afternoon. So not a lot of precipitation, but the chance for a stray thunderstorm or two exists Monday and Tuesday coming up here. Here's the NAM composite reflectivity. My wife said she felt a little bit of sprinkles there this morning, but not much precipitation, again, associated with this tropical moisture moving up over us from the south. Note this upper level low spins through Monday afternoon. One of these could be a thunderstorm across the region here, really anywhere through eastern Washington or Oregon at this point. And as we go on in through Tuesday, you can see a bit of precipitation, again, maybe associated with the thunderstorm as we go through Tuesday afternoon. But anyway, let's take a look at the extended forecast here, because this has got my attention. I've kind of been watching out to the future here a little bit here to try to pinpoint when our next system comes in here. This is that time of year where we're waiting for that first nice rainfall maker here across Pacific Northwest. And there is a chance of something coming up here later on into next week. So this is the European run, the deterministic, and this is just a high resolution version of it here. So let's look through. You can see that upper level low moving through the area. Then you can see that trough dividend across the Gulf of Alaska. Kind of moves through BC. Then a deeper one forms off the coastline here. This would bring some pretty good precipitation, mainly Cascades and higher terrain off to the west here as we go through into the following weekend here. So as we go a little bit further into the future there, you can see another one developing even maybe out there, but this is 10 days out. And right now we're just kind of watching this system here. It's been showing it's been pretty steadfast with the system sliding down the coastline here next weekend on the European. Now, this is the European ensemble control. This is a lower resolution version of what we just looked at there, 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. Weak trough moves through, and it also shows similar with that system kind of dropping right down onto western Washington, right along the coastline here through next weekend. This would bring some precipitation, would be a nice little rainmaker here for us in western Washington, Oregon, British Columbia. A little bit less, of course, off to the east as per usual, and on through the extended there, another trough moving down through there. That's purely fantasy at this point. Now, this is looking at the ensemble mean. This is the average of all 50 ensemble members here on the European run. Now, as we go through, there's the upper level low, brief low moves through, and this is actually 060. Let's back that up a little bit here. We're going to get some more out of that. And you can kind of see the trough set up here on the ensemble mean here with the ridge allowing kind of a northwest flow to let that trough dig down into the Pacific Northwest. So that's what we're kind of hoping on here. You can see the ensemble runs not as bullish with the deepness, with the depth of this low, I should say, off the coastline here, but it is showing that trough in there, and this would bring in some precipitation here, much needed at this point. Now, looking at the GFS, this is hot off the presses, 12Z, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. This is the deterministic run, so this is just the highest resolution version all on its own. And you can see that it really differs from the European a bit. It opens this trough out much further off the coast here, which would result in much less precipitation across Pacific Northwest here, according to the GFS. But you can see the troughing does exist, so maybe we would squeeze something out of this as we went on to the future. But I tend to lean towards the European. It definitely performs better at this range. And this trough looks a little bit wonky to me. I'm not sure the GFS has a great handle of what's going on here, but we'll see which model finally yields to which as far as the position of this trough. Are we going to set something up this deep off the coast of California? I'm a little bit skeptical, leaning towards the European at this point. So looking at Portland today, should warm up quite nicely today, tomorrow, and maybe another close to 80-degree day before we start to kick that onshore flow going on. Look at these temperatures. Should be clear of smoke by that point for Portland. Should be a very nice week coming up here. And then maybe even that system rolling through next weekend here Looking at Rogue Valley, Medford, you can see a couple nice warm days coming up here before the onshore flow really kicks across the region and cools the area back down, as you can see, not putting too much stock in the extended at this point. Astoria here, you can see some nice days coming up, especially when that onshore flow returns and really clears out the entire area. A little bit of smoke made it out to Astoria as well. Here, Spokane, you can see that troughing potential off into the future here as well as we cool down here as we go on in through midweek. Seattle, Tacoma, maybe up towards the 80-degree mark again today before we start to bring it down a little bit tomorrow, and then definitely feel onshore flow as we go on in through midweek here coming up in Seattle. So checking this out, this is the ensemble. This is all 50 ensemble runs you can see here. The blue is the control run here, which calls for 0.4 of an inch here at some point next weekend. But you can see the variation in some of these ensemble runs here. It does show some precip. The mean is just about 0.2 of an inch here, I should say. And then even another wet system on the heels of that as we go on into the following week. That's fantasy at this point. We're kind of watching this system here. At this upper level low as it moves through, it does look like it produces a little bit of precipitation. Maybe we'll squeeze 0.1 of an inch out of this system as it comes through tomorrow evening as well, as we increase this onshore flow across the area. Now, taking a look at this. Okay, so actually let's back up here for a second. Now, if we look closely here, you can see this one for SeaTac. I wanted to show you a little tool I have here. So if we look at this, you can see 1.1 inches in 24-hour period. If you look over here, that's ensemble run number 35. So what we can do is actually go to this site. I can go to members. I'm on run number 35 here. So I can look at that individual ensemble run here, and you can see the strong jet stream out here, 500 millibars. If we put it into motion here, you can see that frontal system drive down in through the Pacific Northwest that says it would bring an inch of rain to SeaTac Airport under those conditions here. So kind of an interesting thing I thought I'd share with you guys. You can click on any one of those individual 50 ensemble members there, and you can kind of see what it's showing exactly in detail. Now, if we look here, this is precipitable. This is actually accumulated total precipitation here on number 35, the one we were looking at. There it is, number 35. Now, if I scroll through here, you can see that nice rainfall really blasting all the way down into southern Oregon. The Cascades getting some nice precipitation. Higher terrain, British Columbia, Vancouver Island, Olympics. I mean, what a nice system this would be. But again, this is just one of the outliers here on the ensemble runs. You could pick any one of these, and you could pick some of these dry members out too that would leave us high and dry. So now taking a look here, let's go ahead and bounce back out a little bit. This is Quileute looking at the same thing. You can see all 50 ensemble members. If you look at 35 there too, pretty good rainmaker there for Quileute, Washington along the coastline there. But you can see the mean does have about 1/4 of an inch for Quileute here coming up. The combination, the average of all these ensemble runs here. Here's the control, which shows about 1/2 an inch, maybe 0.6 of an inch through next weekend. So fingers crossed. Let's hope the system comes rolling through here. And, you know, it's still a little bit off there in fantasy land, but something to watch at this point. The GFS, the control one actually showed about 1/2 an inch coming up here, but you can see there's plenty of runs here that show no precipitation. But then you can see an occasional big amount here in some of these individual ensemble members on the GFS. But as we saw, that trough position is a little bit different here on the GFS versus the European. Now looking 6 to 10 days, this is valid September 16th through the 20th. Look at this, below average temperatures are likely across much of the Pacific Northwest. That would be a very nice sight to see here after all this fire and heat we've got going on. And some 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook here. You can see the above average signal, Eastern Washington, Oregon. So yeah, fingers crossed there on this next system coming up this weekend. Thanks to all my members signing up here. You guys make this page possible. Without you, nothing is possible on this page. We just reached 9,000 subscribers. Did a little tweet on it coming up here. Let's see if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by December 1st. That would be meteorological winter. If I get, if we're getting about 300 a month here, maybe we can get boom, 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 300. What is that? That'd be close. Probably a tall task, but maybe we can get it by January 1st also. So hopefully we can do that. If you haven't clicked subscribe, please go ahead and do so. It helps out the algorithm of the channel, gets the word out to more people in the area, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this nice onshore flow coming up. I know I am going to enjoy it, and the cooler temperatures coming up this week. And then I will have fun just kind of watching to see what kind of system drops down out of the northwest coming up for next week. And so fingers crossed, hopefully we can put an end to some of this fire threat and really start to quench some of these fires over the Cascades. That Bolt fire, what a monster yesterday, producing all kinds of smoke across the area. So yeah, let's go ahead and start getting some systems in here and reduce that fire smoke. And we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.